Hey everybody, Signet here with the Bullish Bears. I want to do an introduction to Tastyworks. Now, right now you're looking at my Thinkorswim platform. The market's closed. I put in an order to buy one contract of an option for X steel. What I want you to look at is the cost of the trade including commissions. This trade is going to cost me 65 cents to open the trade. It'll cost me another 65 cents to close the trade. That's my commissions on Thinkorswim. All right. Now, this isn't a commercial about, commission rates or anything like that. Obviously, if the trade is so bad that that commission is going to cause me a problem, then I've got more issues than brokers. But I wanted to start this by looking at Thinkorswim because the guy who created Thinkorswim, his name is Tom Sosnoff. He sold this to TD Ameritrade years ago, and he opened up a social media platform called Tastytrades. And then from that, he opened up a new broker called Tastyworks. So the guy who created Thinkorswim created Tastyworks. And one thing that he has said in interviews is that on the Thinkorswim platform, they wanted to give everybody anything that was requested if it was something that they could do. So they put everything in it. It has calculators and widgets. It monitors the moon. It looks at markets all around the world. It's got news. Just about everything you could want, it's in there. And when he was asked about it, he said, well, when he created a new broker, what he didn't want was all that bloatware. That's his words, not mine. He said he wanted a lightning fast platform where the servers had one job, and that was to help you get a fill. He didn't want the servers to be tasked with paper trades or finding the news or just doing anything else. So this thing is state-of-the-art, high-frequency trading servers. The algorithms are designed to get you the fastest fill and to get you accurate data so that you can get your trade done. It's got multiple platforms. It's on the web. It's on your phone. You can get it on your desktop. So those three ways. They constantly come out with new upgrades. They're always trying to tweak it or adjust it, make it a little bit better. The desktop version is not exactly the same as the web version. So there is going to need to be another walkthrough for the web. But I'm mainly going to deal with the desktop version today. Now, before I log in, I want to go over to their website for a moment. Just kind of take a second to go through a few things. I'm not sure every place that you can trade these smalls, but this is a whole new futures product, and they're on a place called the Smalls Exchange. You can trade these from Tastyworks. You can trade them at Ninja Broker, and you can trade them at Tradeovate. You cannot trade them on Thinkorswim. These are brand new futures that really just haven't quite caught on yet in the marketplace, but they're growing, and I absolutely love these things. This gives you an exposure to a market that is fresh and new, and while it's not very liquid yet, it's something that I've got to encourage you guys to check out as another vehicle to trade. We want to stay as diverse as we can, have alternative sources of income, and these smalls are absolutely amazing. So make sure you go and check those out as well. They are also a product, if you don't recognize the emblem, of a Tastyworks Tastytrade thing, because Tom Sosnoff was one of the main people involved in getting these created. So the Tastyworks platform, guys, when I first opened an account here, I needed to transfer a retirement account from a job that I no longer worked at. I was going to work for myself, be an at-home trader, and I had this retirement account that I wanted control of, and I thought this was going to be a very tricky thing to get done. And I called these people up, and it was just so easy. I didn't know what I needed to do. I didn't even know what words to use to explain to them what I needed. And I spoke to someone right here in America who understood exactly what my problem was and was able to help me get it done very fast. And it felt good. They didn't talk down to me. I wasn't stuck, waiting, listening to elevator music forever. It was just a really nice experience. If you don't live in America, they deal with international accounts. Um, you can open way more than one. Very simple. I didn't have to go through a lot of different exercises about how long I've been trading and what I know, and do I have to prove what I know and ask for special permissions. All I had to do was open an account. It was very simple, very easy, very intuitive, just very comfortable. I can't tell you how nice that is to be able to do that. I'm on their website right here, and you can see how they've got things broken down. If you need help with taxes, if you want to understand margin or buying power more, if you've got questions about withdrawals or deposits, you can just click on the available link, and it'll take you right over, and you can go through it, and you can always ask for help. It was just such a great experience. All right, so we're going to get off of that page, and we're going to look at who created this. So this guy right here on the far right, that's Tom Sosnoff. This guy's been around the marketplace for a long, long time. Reputation matters, and once you've burned your reputation, you can't get it back. And this guy has dedicated his life to helping people like us gain access to the market. He thinks that retail traders have a leg up in this market, and that we are the ones with the edge. And he wants to help everybody get there. Everything that he does is focused on that. From his media side, where he opened up Tasty Trades, which was all about media for the retail trader, and he continued to fight against the institutions and complained about brokerages so much that he finally went and opened a new brokerage, Tastyworks. Okay, so that's the guy who did this. He's the one that put it all together. He has done a lifetime of just working for us. Let's talk about pricing for a moment. One of the things that he talks about often is that we need to manage our trades, right? And especially if we're the ones that are holding the bag, and we're thinking maybe if we just hold it all the way to expiration, we could avoid those commissions. Well, he wanted to encourage people to manage their trades. Everything in the options market points to the fact that if we are managing our trades, we do better. And he didn't want people to hold on to a trade just to try to avoid commissions. So one of the things that he made sure of is that there are no closing costs in your options trades. You only pay to open. You do not pay to close. Because that's how strongly he believed in the idea that we need to manage our trades. Now, of course, you don't have to manage it. You can still do whatever it is that you've always done. But he stands behind what he says. The research proves that if we're managing our trades and closing them early and taking care of business, it works out better for the trader. He believed in that so strongly, it's in his commission schedule. All right, so it's $1 per contract on the option side to open a trade. And if you're a multiple contract trader, once you've capped out at 10 contracts, you're just going to pay that 10. It's not going to continue to go higher and higher and higher. So if you're scalping with 20 or 30 contracts, you're still capped out at that $10. And it's only to open, not to close. Now, I already showed you what it was on Thinkorswim, and when I log in here, I'll show you it's actually a little less than this, but we'll get to it. Of course, there's futures, and there's options on futures, and then there's the micros. So the commission schedule is there. It's transparent, easy to see, and there's no ambiguity or confusion here. It's very clear cut. That it is what it is, and that's it. It's done. You don't have to worry that somebody knows someone and got, the inside deal. When I was trading everywhere else, I always had that concern, do I need to ask somebody for lower commissions? And then I would, and they'd say, well, prove to us that you're going to be a very active trader and we'll give you a break and we'll cut you this low. You don't have to worry about none of that stuff here, guys. Everybody's paying the same thing. And you know what? That feels good. I know that somebody out there doesn't have an edge that I don't have. We're all going to be treated the same. All right, so that's a really good deal. And I haven't even got to the platform yet. Right now we're just working through a couple of the basic things. Just before I go to a broker, I want to know that it's, that the company itself is someplace that I can pick up the phone and I can call them and talk to them, and I'm not going to be stuck on hold. They're not going to talk down to me or give me the runaround. I'm not going to have a hard time understanding the person on the phone. It's just those things matter before I even open up the account. Then I can get into commissions and what can the brokerage do, what can the platform do. This thing does curve analysis, so if you've been on Thinkorswim and you do the day step or the vol step, you'll be able to do that here, right? You'll be able to look into the future and say, if price goes down and volatility goes up, what's going to happen to the price of my option after 14 days? You can adjust those things and see, just like you can on Thinkorswim. It also does a really good job when it comes to managing a trade for quick roll. Just the click of a button. You want a quick roll, you can just hit a quick roll button and it immediately loads you up, throws you in there, and presents you with a rolled trade. One thing that I love about this is I tend to close trades at around 50%, and it has that pre-built right onto the platform. As soon as I open a trade, I can just hit the close at 50% button, put it on good till canceled, and I can go on about my business. I don't even have to try to sit there and calculate what is my 50% going to be. Quick order adjustments, it immediately just push of a button, it's ready to go. Guys, this thing was built for options traders. Sure, it'll do futures and you can do stock, but it was made by options traders for options traders, and they listened to our feedback. People complained that the charting isn't as robust as they wanted it to be, and they reached out and they started to make adjustments to the charting. It's still not quite on the level as where I would want it to be on the chart side, but I gotta admit I do a lot of options trading without looking at the chart at all. Quant Trading 101, I can see everything from the options chain. Right? Percentage of profits, I kind of tagged on that a little bit already. You can just preset your probabilities and you're good to go. Guys, this thing is amazing. So let's go take a look at that. And by the way, like I did say, it's on the desktop. You can get it in your browser. It's got the mobile. And I've used all of these. I will say that the mobile took me a little longer to get used to or to get comfortable with than I would have liked. But it's still, I've got very fat thumbs. I know I don't like to say that, but I got big paws. I've worked with my hands my whole life, and I'm still able to use their web device, their mobile app. I can still get it done, not accidentally push buttons that shouldn't be pushed. So let's go take a look at the platform now. All right, let's go get into the meat of it all. So I'm going to log in here. Give it a second to do its thing. All right, so here is the Tastyworks platform, and just like that, you can see every trade that I have on right now, and I've got one account not showing and one account that is showing, and this is just one of my login accounts, which is really nice. You can decide what is hidden, what's not hidden. I could have hid all of these details just a click of a button. They're gone. Let's start with a couple of key features, and I really think that I'm going to have to do more than one of these walkthroughs just to get through the platform. I want to keep these videos under 20 minutes, so better pick up the pace. On the far left side of the platform, you can see down here at the bottom, I am connected. These quotes are live, but the market is closed. We can see that the market is closed because of the red dot. I can see that I'm live, and it's in my time zone. I really don't think that I can change the time zones, but honestly, I've never tried to change the time zones. I've got pre-built watch lists. This thing comes already loaded with all of the sectors in place. And then it's got preset watch lists, including what is liquid today, liquid ETFs, unusual options volume. It's got the futures components for those smalls that I was telling you about. Pre-built watch list with only the smalls themselves. Micro futures, CME futures. In case you're not comfortable with futures language, this means the indexes. The NASDAQ, the ES, and the Russell. Not the Dow, but the other three. And that's just for the watch list, not just those. And then, it's got a lot of the other CME futures as well. Fast movers, what's moving on the day. These are pre-built things that you don't have to worry about learning how to scan or building a scan. They're just already done for you. A market watch list. The dividend aristocrats, that was something that I learned from getting a subscription from Seeking Alpha. I used to read a lot of articles about these dividend aristocrats. Well, instead of having to go in and build your own watch list of those and to keep track of who's now on the list and who's not on the list, it's already pre-built for you. Things with 52-week highs, 52-week lows. Tastyworks does an hourly top equities watch list, which is really nice. So the market opens at 9:30. At 10:31, you go in here and look at this, and it's got top equities coming out. Tom Sosnoff, the guy that I was talking about, he's got his own watch list. When he makes changes, it changes this. And then there's just the Tasty Trades default watch list. One of the things that I do want to mention when we are talking about watch lists and scanners is that you cannot scan the marketplace here. You can't go in and build some scanner and then dig through the entire marketplace looking for something. You just don't have that here. But you can build a watch list and then you can scan for things in that watch list to a limited degree. Like I said, he was very interested in eliminating a lot of the bloatware. Okay. This thing also, of course, it'll do your positions for you. It will hunt for things that they consider interesting for earnings, or you can just look at everything that has earnings. This next watch list section, this is my own personal area that I've made watch lists. I recreated the Dow 30, I recreated the S&P 100, and then I can use my own watch list scans to see what in the S&P 100 might be something that I want to trade today. So that's the watch lists. I can expand this out and I can change the columns in here to show different things. If we go in and we look at the choices, it's got your usual things that you would expect to see: earnings, dividends, open, high, low, close. It'll show you an automatic correlation with SPY. So if you're looking at a product, it benchmarks that against the SPY and shows you how much its beta is, lockstep, penny to penny with a correlated SPY marketplace. The liquidity ranking is nice. They decide if a product is, quote, liquid, and then they give it a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5-star rating to tell you it's a liquid product. They calculate your dividend yield. Of course, they run a beta. They do an implied volatility 5-day change. Think of that from you Thinkorswim people. That would be a volatility sizzle. All right, same thing on Thinkorswim. Sizzle is a 5-day average. Well, this is an implied volatility 5-day change. What else they got in here? It will tell you the exchange of what you're looking at, and then a description, of course, right? So I run mine the way I like it: IV percentile, IV rank, IV index, volume, and net change. That's just what I'm interested in. While I'm here in this section, I also want to point out that I can look at all of my lists or make a new one, clone one, mess with one, add something to the list. Then there's the main center display area where I can also go in and add these things again. And then there's the right sidebar where I can also go in and set watch lists or have things displayed and showing. You can see your accounts. You can choose to look at how your trades are showing or not showing. So if you want to do an overlay, maybe compare one of your trades with another one, or see how multiple trades are going to affect your position, you can see that, or you can just hide your positions from the analysis tab. You can deal with how futures are measured, because they will show you like a beta of your futures. And then how options are done. So in here you can set your options bracket order for your stop loss, your 25% or 50%, and then you can do like your target profit zones, things like that. So imagine that, guys, a pre-built stop and a pre-built target profit all ready to go. You didn't have to worry about figuring out how to do it, get it set up, bracket orders and all that madness, just done right there. All right, so it's just really comfortable. If you're a person who trades a lot of the same values, maybe you like to do fives, you just go in and set your order increments right here and just be done with it. And of course, yeah, we do stock, right? It does stock, and you can do percentages instead of price, which I like to do a lot of things in a percentage instead of a particular dollar value. So just a really amazing platform. I'm running out of time here on this video. I really don't want to overdo it. The zoom level is the last thing that I'm going to hit here, and I'm also going to change the time zone since we were just talking about that. We were looking at this broker's platform with a 90% zoom, and I keep it that way because I've got a really big screen and because I like this right side sidebar being open. But I'm going to bump it up a little bit and actually go to 110 for the rest of this and for the next videos from here on out, just so that you guys will be able to see my platform easier. So exit out of that for a moment. You can see how things are a lot clearer now. It's a lot more zoomed in. The entire platform is a lot closer to us now. All right. So from here, guys, the recent symbols, it makes perfect sense what is recent, right? It's the things that I've recently looked at. I want to leave it here, guys, for this, and I will see you at the next video. Hey everybody, Signet here with the Bullish Bears. Welcome to the introduction to the Tastyworks platform part 2. In the previous video, I talked about the watch list that you see on the left side of the screen. Now we're going to talk a little bit about this center area. The center area, you can use this to look at your positions. Obviously, it's what we're looking at right here. You've got the trade tab where you can work through all the different options. Notice how the one that doesn't have the weekly options is a different color than the ones that do have the weekly options, and then of course the quarterlies. So at a glance, just the shade of what we're looking at tells us whether or not it's a weekly or a monthly. The days to expiration is in the middle, and then you've got your implied volatility average on the end. There are two columns at the top where you can choose what it is that you want to see in your watch list or in your options chain. I'm used to seeing a lot more than just these two choices, but really I got used to it really quick. From there, if we open up one of these, we'll just go in and take a look. In the money and out of the money is divided by this orange line, and a lot of things that you see on the platform, they're very subtle, and it takes a little while before you get used to noticing that they are there. So from here, we've got these short dashed blue lines. That's a 1 standard deviation move from at the money. And then there's a thicker dotted line, and that's a 2 standard deviation move away. We've got the curve, and at a glance you can again see those dotted lines, the thin one and the thick one. You've got your bell curve, 1 standard deviation form, and at a glance you can look for the short tail or the long tail and try to identify if there is skew in the market that you're trading. And then from here you can also turn on the analysis side, and that gives you the opportunity to change things from a theoretical perspective to an at expiration perspective. So if I was just to go in here and decide to put on a short put vertical, I can just click the button. It immediately throws it on there for me. If I don't like what it chose, I just grab these and move them just like that. It's very comfortable, very intuitive. It's very easy to just work your way around in here. If we go back in here to the curve, this is what it would look like at expiration, and we can zoom in. I got to roll my mouse wheel, and that just allows me to zoom in and out at a glance. If I don't like the tiles, I can shift them around. That white little dashed line right there is a representation of the current market, and across the top we can see what my profit is and my loss. Down here at the bottom we've got POP, which is probability of profit. We can see how much extrinsic value is in this trade, and since I'm completely out of the money, the only value of this trade is extrinsic value. But if we was to go the other way and perhaps build it a little bit in the money and a little bit out of the money, then we can see that there's some intrinsic and some extrinsic value. We've got our P50, delta, theta, max profit, and max loss, including our buying power, and it all updates in real time. We can immediately see what the trade is worth, decide if we like it or not, and if we decide, you know, I like this trade, but maybe I want more time in the trade, great, we just hit the button, and now I've got a 12-day trade. Maybe I want more time, 13 days, 17 days, just like that. It's very comfortable, very easy to use. I can also decide to change my quantity, so I can increase things now. I went from 1 contract to 2, 3, 4. Guys, it's very easy to use. It's very comfortable to use. We can change our strike widths by moving these with the buttons. We can put them closer together or spread them out. It's very nice. If you don't want to do it manually with those buttons, you can just reach up here and do it. How nice is that, right? Now, this has all been at expiration, but if we want to, we can get into the theoretical side, right? Not what it would look like at expiration, but what would it look like today. We can also go in here and day step or vol step, just like we could on Thinkorswim. So we can kick out this sidebar right here, and we can go in on the analysis side. Here's my options that I have. I can start to increase the implied volatility and see what it would do. Go ahead and reset that. We can change price. We can change the date, go forward in time. What would this trade look like if it was the 18th instead of today? So we can do that. And then we can actually spot price and say, well, what if SPY was to go up to 395 and it was the 24th? Now what would my trade look like? And just like that, we can see it. We could turn on the quotes so that now we can see the bids going on in real time, and if we want to, I can turn that on, and as I move my mouse, we can see 2 prices. The theoretical price, what it would do with the changes that I just made, or what it would be worth at expiration. Very comfortable to use. We can go right back in here and hit reset, put it back to today's date, make sure that everything is back to normal again. Guys, I can't tell you how comfortable it is to be able to come in here and move around. You'll find that you very quickly are able to see exactly what it is that you're looking for. Let's see what else we're going to do in here. So from here, we can just make sure everything is reset, turn off these quotes. And, we can add analysis, and from that analysis, we can change from no Greeks. Maybe we want to look at the delta or the theta. You know, we can go in and look at all of the Greeks in here. And of course, we could go back to the analysis and start changing days and times and price. So it's just a very simple to use, very it's very intuitive, just very nice. One thing I love about this platform is the shading. When I'm trying to help people understand their value in the trade, what their risk or their reward is, where the break even is, I find that a lot of people struggle with that, trying to see it, trying to understand it. A risk graph is not something that people seem to be very comfortable with starting out in options, and so the colors in here just make things very easy. you can still see those dotted lines too for a 1 standard deviation move. What's a one, a 1 standard deviation or a bell curve look like? Where's my long tail? All of that at a glance. You can, of course, come in and configure a filter. So if I had trades on and I wanted to hide those from the analysis, we can do that. If I want to jump through expirations but not use all the expirations, I could do non-standard or weeklies or whatever I want. Okay, I can come in here and I can change the display of what's working orders versus positions that I already have. Let's see what else we can get into from here. The activity tab. Now, I tend to use this a lot during the day. I will look at what's running on the day and see what I got filled in, or I'll see what's still working. Of course, the market's closed now, so I don't have any working orders. Trades that perhaps were canceled. Maybe I cancel a trade and then I decide, you know what, I wanted that anyways. We can go back in here and look at what it was. And I like to have that opportunity. Canceled trades, same thing. Come in here and look at what was canceled. So you can find your history very quickly from doing this activity trade here in the middle. And you can scan for things too. Maybe you just want to know, how many SPY trades you put on or were filled, or let's try something that I actually trade on this account, Apple. So there's Apple trades that I had put on but needed to be canceled. Right? So this is, of course, the last 7 days, so I could go in and do 120 days working, filled, other. It's very intuitive, just very simple, very easy. You can see the status of the market. If you're looking at a live account or if you'd lost connection somewhere. This activity tab is someplace that I hang out quite a bit because I want to bump orders, move them around. Did I get filled? What did I get filled for? So I can do my journal, things like that. You can also have a main watch list running right here in the middle. Now, in the previous video, I talked about having a watch list here on the side. Oftentimes, I'll go in here and have my Dow 30 list with percentage change on the day. I'll want to see what's green or what's not. But I'll also want something like my S&P 100 list in here, which right now I've got my filter turned on. I wanted to see things earlier in the day that did not have earnings for the next 60 days, and things that they were considered to be a 4 or a 3 star on liquidity. So if I was to reset that, now I can see all 100 markets that are in the S&P 100. I can see their earnings, when's their dividend, their beta, IV. I'm a real big fan of keeping track of what's going on in the implied volatility, so I can see IV rank, IV percentile, and of course the 5-day IV sizzle. How aggressive the IV has changed in a market in the last 5 days can be a really big heads up. We can easily add symbols to this watch list or just make a whole new watch list. We can export the watch list just at a click of a button, no problem. And then we can go in and change the things that are showing in this watch list. While we're also on watch lists, you can bring up a right sidebar, and that way you'll have your left sidebar, your center main, and then your right sidebar, all looking at different things, helping you keep a track of what's going on in the market. This is also the place where you can go in and change the view. So I am zoomed in 110%. We could go in even more than that, but I don't think we need to at the moment. One of the things that I did like is the sounds. You can change the sounds easy in here. Of course, you can do that on Thinkorswim too, but you have to know how to do it, and it's not very intuitive. Here, we just go to the sound panel, and we can go and change the sounds that it makes. There I had the open bell, and of course, the closing bell. Trade that an alert was made. Trade was filled. And trade alert. You can go and change these and put in your own custom noises, custom sounds. And I like that. It's just really nice. You can have them email you when a trade is done if you need to keep that for your records. And you can go in and reset all of your charts at the push of a button. Just really nice. So from here, we're going to click on this next area. This icon is an interchangeable icon. We can look at the watch list where we were, but we can also look at a chart. We can see our history on the day. You can follow people here from the Tastyworks company. They're all, I don't want to say that they're famous, but they're well-known individuals, and through their social media following, they have quite a crowd, and they're known for doing particular kind of trades. And so if you was inclined to, you could follow Tom or Bat or any of the people who share their trades at the Tasty Trades company. So we're going to go next. I'm not going to stay into this, but here's the Tasty Trade live. And of course, the market's closed, so it's not live anymore. But it would have been. We could have come in here and watched these guys talk through the day of the different things that they're looking at, things that they're interested in. They do a little bit of educational stuff, and when it gets slow in the day, you can go in and run research. You can look back things that they are looking at, things that they're interested in perhaps trading. This is to give you an idea of something that you may want to trade, right? Why they're looking at it, what's going on. It's just one more thing to kind of help point you in the right direction, right? I hear all the time from people that, gosh, I just can't find anything to trade. Well, you'd get some trade ideas here, you know. So from that, we're going to go look at a chart for a moment. I did say in the last video that charting on the Tastyworks platform is not as good as we would like. I'll just, say it that way. I've seen better, but oh boy, I've seen worse. Okay, so they do continue to update this. It does do what we need it to do. From the basic perspective of I've got candles, I can change the colors of the candles, I can change the background, add indicators. But when it comes to quickly zooming in or quickly zooming out, it's not a quick draw. You can't immediately jump over to a preset chart as comfortably or as quickly as I would like it to be. But it can be done because you can save your charts. So from here, if I was to want to go in and pull up a 2-day, 5-minute chart, that's pretty fast compared to the way that I used to do it when I was newer to this platform. So you can save your charts. You can load things up the way you want it. It has all of your typical regular indicators. There's nothing custom in here or particularly unique. You can't go in and customize things as much as perhaps you may want to. Let's just kind of pick something, an exponential moving average, of course, right? Just your standard exponential moving average. Of course they've got that. We can go in and change, all the normal features that you would expect. The width of the line, the style of the line, the color, the different moving average numbers make this into something else, right? So, it's what you would expect when it comes to just having indicators and having choices with those indicators, but nothing more than that. No advanced custom stuff. Drawing tools are more than adequate, and they can be colored, which is kind of nice. So you can shade in things like run a Fibonacci, and then I know this one's going to be a little bright. It's rainbow colored, but you got that, and you can go in and perhaps dial that shading down a little bit, change their colors, and add extensions, change it over to presets in percents or in prices, and then of course you can just reset the whole thing. So the drawing tools, they're more than adequate. They of course got multiple styles of Fibonacci and all that good stuff in there too. See what else we're going to do. The 4Grid. So I am a person who uses the 4Grid a lot. One of the things that I do with the 4Grid is I keep track of the 4 indexes. And for me, that's a big deal. I want to be able to do that. Some reason, let me pause this here. All right, so here's the 4Grid. It's what I normally use. I've got all 4 of the markets, the index markets that I tend to watch. It shows you just at a glance what is green on the day or what is red on the day. The one thing that I don't care for on here is it shows things in a dollar value. I would really like to see these markets in a percentage basis. I want to know if they're up 1% on the day, down 1% on the day, and which ones are comparable. If the ES is up 1% and the Russell is up 1%, I'd like to know that. But we don't have it in that. It's not set up that way. It's just the way that it is. Of course, I sent them an email about it. I haven't heard anything back. That is a detached chart, so we can throw it off on a different screen. And that one, it will stay blank when I've got that one detached, but we still have our regular chart. And if we go back to the trade tab for a moment, there is grid. And if we go into grid, here we have yet another multiple chart setup. And since Tastyworks has these smalls, and I consider them their own exchanges, I have loaded this up the way that I like it, and at a glance I can see what's going on in the bonds, the US dollar, and precious metals. We can add one more, which I have had set up before. It's where I put the oil market. So I like this setup. When I don't want oil, I'll swap that out for something like the VIX market, right? See what's going on in volatility. And it's just all preset at a glance. You can save these setups and have them for later. You can also go in and detach an individual chart. So I can always have this individual chart set up and on its own screen. That way I can do whatever work I want to do over on that chart and still have a chart free here to be able to go in and see what's going on. All right, now these charts all don't link together like they do on a lot of other platforms. So if I want to see SPY, for an example, on the chart that I detached and on this chart, I would have to go in and change it on both. But, this was designed more for options traders, and I can tell you that I spend a lot more time on the table than I do in a chart, right? I don't need the chart. I don't do a lot of my work there. Let's bring these strikes in a little bit. Earlier, you may have noticed that I started a trade just by hitting the go button up here. This is a drop-down list with all different kinds of trades, and you can go in and just choose. Maybe you want to put on a vertical, but you want to do the call side and you want to go long with a debit spread. Boom, just like that. You can do that. Hit the button. Maybe after I do it, I decide, you know what? I don't like the pricing on this put call parity. Maybe I want to flip that back across. And just like that, I can just grab the tiles and flip them right back over there. It's very nice, very comfortable. Maybe I don't like this date, right? I can go in and just change my date at the click of a button. You can see we're out farther now than we were. And it's got this dot right here letting me know that, hey, I've got a trade that's not filled yet and that's in here. Notice also it's showing my P&L, the profit and the loss on this in the watch list or in the side here. This is the side that would be getting profit, of course, because I've got a credit spread here. So as the market rallied higher and higher, my trade would be going farther out of the money, and I would be able to see at a glance. Right? And for new traders, that's a really good thing. You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you how often I made some silly mistake as a new trader putting the trade on backwards or just screwing something up. We can see our probabilities. We can see our extrinsic value, the P50, all of it at a glance. It's just a very nice, comfortable way of doing business. Now, while we're here, I also want to talk about pairs trading for a moment. So with these smalls, I've been getting more into pairs trading, and I like the idea that I can just go in here. Maybe I want to do pairs trades, and I want to be able to see this very easily, and I want to change the ratio. Maybe one of these for two of these, what that would look like on the chart. Done and done. And of course, we can go in and change that to log scale, percentage, whatever we need to do, and we can fit drawings and all of that. That's a really nice setup, and yet again, it's one more chart, and it's off the side. We don't have to worry about struggling with getting this done. It just does it. That's very nice. Be a very comfortable way to do things. And you can see, the trigger, the notional values, what your greater or less than is, everything just right there at a glance. All right, if you want to swap the markets, like, oh, wait a minute, I got them in the wrong order. Hey, no problem. You go in there and swap your markets around. All right, and then you can save your preset markets. So if I want to go in and swap this over to a pairs trade with SPY and QQQ, no problem. Maybe we want to counterweight that a little bit, right? Just How easy is that, huh, guys? Just, you gotta love this. Very simple, very easy, intuitive. I love it. So there's the swap. You can see how I flipped it around. Now I got the Qs versus the SPY instead of SPY versus the Qs. So pairs trading is very easy to do here as well with their presets or your own presets. And you can do just the futures, or you can go in and do smalls. You can do BAT. BAT does a lot of these. You can do his smalls. And then you got your stocks, right? So already done for you. You got to love this stuff, guys. What else we got in here? They do run a dome here, the depth of market, but I do have to say it's unlike any other platform that I've ever seen, and since they don't offer paper, it would be hard for me to even try to come over and do a trade here using their dome. I honestly don't know how to do it. I've never done it. I don't know how to do it here, and I used to day trade options using a dome, but this is unlike anything I've ever used before, and I just don't know how to get that done in here. Perhaps if I get some more time, I will get that figured out, and then I will do a video on it, and we'll kind of go from there, right? But at the moment, I can't give you any information on how to use this because I just have not used it in trading, right? But there's SPY down there, so we know it's there. It's a very unusual dome. It's unlike anything else out there, and I just am going to need to put in some more time on that, right? So that's the trade mode side. The curve, pairs, running analysis, and then the table. The next thing on the list that I wanted to talk about is your transactions. You can go in here and run things year to date. You can see what you've been doing on the day, for the week, for the month. This is real important to me. I do a lot of trades and I post them into the community, and I get asked by people all the time, hey, how did that trade work out? And, what was your profit? How many trades have you done this week? How many trades have you done this month? How profitable are you? I can come in and show that, and I can export the details. Very simple, very easy, intuitive. I can find the things that I do, right? And that's important to me. When I was on Thinkorswim, I always had a hard time trying to find where my history was and then be able to use that data effectively. And here I can just do it very simple, very easy. All right, guys, that is the walkthrough of the Thinkorswim or the Tastyworks platform. I really hope that this was helpful for you guys. Take the time to get familiar with this broker before you go live. There is no paper trading over here, and that's important to understand. But when it comes to a platform that is very simple to use and just very user-friendly, this is the one, guys. It doesn't get any more simple and powerful at the same time as something as this. I use this thing all the time, and every day that I use it, I just get more and more comfortable with it. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you at the next video.